So in this video of drawing dynamic poses, I chose another pose off of Pinterest, and there were multiple different poses of different people holding weapons, and I wanted to draw a lot of the sword wielding poses. And I chose this one because she's holding a sword and she's sitting down with legs crossed, and I wanted to kind of show a lot of different difficult positions in this pose. Now I started out usually the same as the other poses, where I start with the head first, and because their head is tilted up, I have the line angled, and I drew the circle in the bottom of her neck to show that her head is going upwards. It's kind of a when your head is facing up, sometimes I'll draw a circle under the neck to kind of show the head at an angle, and I'll put that in there. So I have the circle for the neck or the chin, and I'll have the neck going down. As usual, I'll draw the full thing, the full cylinder. And as you draw and add the pose or add the body, you can erase the neck as you go, depending on how long the neck is. So adding a circle for the chest and the circle for the waist. And sometimes when I'm doing circle for chest, circle for the waist, because women have a larger waist, sometimes I'll make the circle bigger for the waist if I'm drawing women, or I can have the same waist because I can make adjustments as I go. Because sometimes I'll draw a shapes in a way as if I'm drawing a man, and I'll just adjust the shapes to make it into a woman. And sometimes if I don't want to do that, I'll just make the hourglass shape for the women to create the woman's body. But you can make adjustments as you go, because when you're doing, especially when you're at this stage, you're not committed to that final product until you erase it and go over it with the details. Now you see I added in the circle for the knee on the left side, and for the right side, the knee is closer. That's why I put the circle there. And I'm just drawing the lines, connecting them to the circle of where the knee is. Because if you're used to drawing, multiple poses, you know where the circles are going to go, where the cylinders are going to go, and it's kind of like a second nature to just draw them out. So see, I'm just literally connecting all the lines to those circles that I've drawn already. They're kind of like a placement for how far they're going to go. Like you're measuring out how far they're going to go from the body. So I'm adding in the calf, putting that in there, curving the lines, adding that foot. Foot is kind of leaning towards you. So I'm drawing that foot in there. Adding a few toes. Trying to make sure I get all the curves in. And doing these type of poses, I like to always do poses with challenging positions, especially legs crossed or for short angles, because to me that's kind of like the faster way for me to learn how to draw poses, while also learning the most difficult positions of drawing poses. I'm getting the other leg. I'm just darkening some of the details, adding in some final touches to it, darkening some lines just so I can kind of get a general idea of where it is. Now for the arm, it's for the right side is leaning back, so I'm just drawing the cylinder a little bit further back behind the circle of the chest. I'm adding in the waist just to fill the waist out, just because with the waist not there, I can't really tell how far behind the arm's going to go. So I just add in those little lines to structure out the waist a little bit more. So now I'm going in and I'm finishing it, making the hand. I'm putting a circle where the hand is going to go. That way I can kind of draw out the sword. Because I always have that circle where the hands are going to go. Now, and especially if they're holding weapons, I'll just draw a circle where the hands are, and then I'll, just add in a long stick for where the sword or axe or whatever weapon is going to go. Then I start to adjust and add in the hands as I go. So right now everything is done for the handle and the blade, so I'm just adding in the hand, gripping that handle, Working on the sheath. Just adding in some small details to the sword. Roughing it out a little bit more. I'm just darkening out the blade a little bit. That way I can kind of see it better. We're going to start to add in that second arm. Now this one I'm adding in the circle for the hand. Just for me to know where the distance is from the hand to the sword. That way I can just drop in that forearm, curving all those lines. And since the rest of the arm is hidden, you don't have to draw too much of the arm except for, you know, the shoulder and the forearm. So you're not drawing too much of that right arm. Now I'm just drawing in the fingers. Just kind of gracefully touching the back of the blade of the finger. You can see I'm using that same method I've been doing before with the fingers, where I'm drawing the cylinders for each finger. Adding in the little knuckles. Taking the finger on the other side. Just to show that the blade is resting on that hand. And she got one finger just kind of on the bottom of the blade, like the back of the blade is resting on that other finger. So get that out. And just darken up a little bit more to not be too confused. I don't like to have a lot of light areas, especially when you have a lot of lines going on. You don't want to confuse the brain too much when you're drawing these shapes out. This is why I'm erasing the calf muscles right there by the legs to kind of get rid of some of those extra lines. You don't really have to get rid of them. You can just, I like to do it just because I don't like to confuse myself when I'm drawing or adding details to it later on. And sometimes I don't do it. Maybe to a certain point where I just, you know, let it be and get my kneaded eraser and just go over it with the details. I'm adding in that line for the chest to structure that chest out a little bit more, structure the neck out a little bit more. But that's it for this video. You want to see more videos like this, hit the like button, subscribe, and comment for any other thing you want to see, and take care.